What the fuck is good, motherfuckers? This is Ghost back again to talk about everyone's favorite topic, bad judging. And today we're gonna do something pretty interesting. We're actually gonna focus on one battle in particular that caused a lot of controversy. There were articles written about it. There was another interview about it, which we'll get into all of that. Something that you should know going into this battle is that it took place in American Beatbox Championships 2012, not 2016. I know what you're all thinking, but it's in 2012. And something interesting about the early American Beatbox Championships is that judges actually had to explain why they're voting the way they are. So we'll be able to take a look at the judge logic as well and discuss that. So this is obviously going to need some context. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show two videos. The first one is the battle itself, so you can watch it and arrive to your own conclusion. And then the second video is the judge deliberation. I challenge you not to get mad during this video. This is a don't get mad challenge, and I definitely failed this challenge. So we'll see how you guys do. So I'm going to show the videos now.
Heaven out of Atlanta, Georgia, let's go. ATL.
You wanna battle me? You must be out of your freaking mind, out of your freaking mind, out of your freaking mind, out of your freaking.
Time. Awesome. Wilmington, Delaware, let's go.
Prepare for total domination, domination. Drop it.
Okay.
You know what was funny? Your last set. Make some noise! Peace.
Okay. It's too easy.
Hey, Heaven, get on my level. She ain't got no money in the bank.
And we go to the judges. And now we go to the judges.
Oh man. It might just have to be a crowd decision on this one because I don't not fair. It's not fair to be up here right now. Oh man. Can I pass it? Can I pass it? Can I pass it this time? I'll catch it around next.
One of the criteria is crowd participation, so I'm just gonna, you guys want to like gauge the crowd kind of. If you guys think orthodox, makes a noise. All right. Okay. You guys think heaven one makes some noise. Damn, that's like hella close.
Yeah, it's not close.
I'm gonna break it down like this. I like heaven. I like my man unorthodox. Beatbox. Now heaven, where unorthodox has over you is precision, right? I feel you have way more stage presence than he does. You're actually, listen, you try beatboxing. And then take it on the road and see how many people you draw into the club. This is real talk. Unorthodox, I'm saying it right? Orthodox, my bad. Orthodox. Only thing that bothered me is you just kept doing the same sounds over and over and over. Listen, I'm going to have to be Mr. Caldwell, whatever his name from American Idol right now. I'm just going to keep it gully. That's what it is. Now the ladies, you want a guy to keep doing the same thing over and over? All right, let's use that as an analogy. You'll be cheating on him in no time. Now, I'm going to stress this one more again. This is not about who can do the best dubstep. It's American beatbox battle. So you got to bring all your styles, all your techniques to the stage. I'm going to go with heaven. Right. Listen, I'm not even finished. I'm going to go with heaven because that's just my style. But on Autobox, the crowd loves you. So the crowd speaks. Even though sometimes the crowd don't know what they talking about, and it's all right. It's all right you don't know what you're talking about. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. I've been dealing with it all my life. It's all right. So I'm going to go with Aruba Box as the winner. So.
All right, so I liked Orthobox's sound quality and the way he presented his sounds. But you have to understand, we're not exactly judging who the better beatboxer is per se. It's a battle, and I believe that Heaven brought more battle tactics to the table and played more mind tricks. So because we're judging a battle and not who's the best beatboxer and who's the best showcaser, I'm going to have to give it to Heaven. But Orthobox, you are very dope.
Man. That comes out to me. Fourth battle? All right. Yes. What did I get myself into? Oh, man. I'm a big fan of Gladiator. Win the crowd, you'll win your freedom. And I think I'm going to have to go with Orthobox.
So that is 2-1. Heaven is going to be going on to the next round. Make some noise for Heaven, y'all.
It's ridiculous.
Look, I don't know who's out there talking shit, but you do not want to battle any of these three judges on stage because chances are you can't do that shit at all. So shut the fuck up.
No, they didn't. He changed it. He said something different.
We are going to take a quick break from the battles. We're going to go.
What a fucking travesty, right? So firstly, that second video is not publicly available on YouTube. It's unlisted. It was recorded on Orthobox's mom's iPhone. That's why it looks like that. I think it was just a recording of the live stream VOD. And there were also additional captions added afterwards to provide more context. And then of course in the recording, I was also playing the YouTube captions in case it's hard to hear. So let's get into this god-awful judge deliberation. So the first thing that you will probably immediately notice is how many times they defer to the crowd to assess crowd participation. Now, I already made a whole video on why crowd participation should not be a factor in the judge voting. I think that was incredibly stupid and just showed how uncertain the judges were. I feel like in every battle, they always say it doesn't matter what the crowd thinks, it's what the judges think. Well, apparently the judges can't think for themselves. They have to constantly defer to the crowd to get the extra amp and the extra bolster that they need. And in addition to that, I think if it's a case of a beatboxer having good crowd engagement skills, they are good at getting the crowd involved, they have good on-stage energy, like Freddie Beats. Freddie Beats is a great example of a beatboxer who has a lot of skills when it comes to stage presence and getting the crowd involved. I think it's fine to give points to a beatboxer for that. But that does not seem to be the case here. They are going straight up by crowd participation and asking, who thought Heaven won? Who thought Orthobox won? Which sometimes is a tactic to get the crowd more involved in the event. But in this case, it doesn't seem to be that. It seems to be they are actually using it as a basis for their judge decision making. You can see Butterscotch constantly deferring to the crowd, or in this case, another judge, which, Butterscotch at the time, based on the interview, seemed to have this reputation of she's nice, she doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and, there's going to be some uncertainty around making a hard decision, especially if it was a close battle. But at the same time, your job is to judge. So I don't know why there's this helplessness around not being able to judge. I know it's tough, sometimes you're going to hurt people's feelings, but this is the job that you were, hired to do. And this next thing really pissed me off. Rahzel was so disrespectful to Orthobox, man. Pronounce his fucking name right. Like, Orthobox calls himself that because his faith is important to him. His identity is important to him, and he wants to show that as part of his beatboxing. Pronounce his name right. Like, the amount of like different names that he made up for Orthobox while doing this Judge Deliberation, it was so disrespectful, man. And then he was trying to make it out like sort of a comedy skit, which is fine. You know, it seemed like he was trying to entertain the crowd. But then he made this point about like dubstep and had some clear genre discrimination, which is the most subjective shit ever. Like, there's two types of subjectivity. Like, there's the one that comes from an angle of open-mindedness, and then there's one that comes from projecting your own biases on the judge decision. And I would say this is the latter. Like, he clearly had something against dubstep beatboxers, and then he made it part of his rationale, especially when he said that Heaven took it for him initially because of his style. But then he changed it to Orthobox because of the crowd. Like, crowd is king. That was an extremely crazy train ride of logic. And then Korean Effect said like the weirdest shit ever. He said something like, we're not here to judge the best beatboxer. We're here to judge the battle. Something like that, which I kind of get what he means. Like, sometimes one of the beatboxers is clearly the better beatboxer from a technical standpoint, but the other beatboxer had two better rounds overall, and you need to judge what's in front of you, so that beatboxer with the two better rounds overall is the one that you would vote for. I get it. You have to judge what's in front of you sometimes. But the way he worded it, like, we're not here to judge the best beatboxer. We're not here to determine the best beatboxer. That was just fucking whack. That was such a weird way of wording it. So yeah, Korean Effects votes for Heaven, Butterscotch, deferring to the crowd, votes for Orthobox. And it sounds like Rahzel in the end votes for Orthobox, but then you saw what happened. Hassan, the MC, he announces the winner as Heaven 2-1. And there's an article about this. I'll show the article below detailing how like the judges said it was 2-1 for Orthobox, but in the end, the announcement was that it was 2-1 for Heaven. There's also another article, just as an aside, about how much the crowd vote played into the decision making. But yeah, what the fuck happened? First of all, why would no one hold each other accountable during that situation? It's a fucking tournament. It's a competition. I feel like if that happened today at any battle, the crowd will be like, wait, what? And then like yell at the judges being like, wait, can we check this? What's going on? Or the judges would check each other being like, did you vote for Orthobox? No, did you vote for Heaven? The judges should be checking each other in that case, and then talking to the MC or talking to the organizer. I don't know why there wasn't any sort of accountability happening at this time. It seemed like Hassan, the MC, just tried to shut the whole crowd up when they were protesting. And what I heard is that apparently like half the crowd left after the top 16. Now, it's hard to determine whether it was because of that controversy or if it was because of the scheduling of the event. It could be both. But I could totally see why, because why the fuck are you going to watch a battle or a competition where the competitive integrity is very obviously not there in front of you? Imagine watching a sport where the team that scored lower wins. Would you watch that sport? No, right? Because like, what the fuck is the point? The winner didn't earn it. So this seems to be a case of that. Now, what could have happened is near the end of the video, you hear someone say, you said Orthobox, right? Which I believe was the MC, Hassan. And I think in this case, he might have been checking with Rahzel, because Rahzel was the only judge who said both names, Heaven and Orthobox, while he was making his decision. And in that, Rahzel might have actually changed his vote to Heaven. That might have been what happened. I'm not sure about this, but based on an interview that I'm about to show, it sounded like Rahzel had a lot more reasons to vote for Heaven than he did Orthobox. So I'm going to show one more video here. Shout out to Conundrum, who is absolutely amazing at finding these old videos. I don't know how he does it. He's actually insane at that. He really helped me out with this, so I just want to shout him out and really show my appreciation for that. But yeah, here is one more video covering the battle, which is an interview between Stephen Foxx and Rahzel.
Let's discuss the Heaven and the Orthodox battle in particular. There was some. That was probably the battle that took the longest to judge.
Yeah, it did.
You know,
It was one of those down to the wires, and you know, to me, I was just basing that particular round. I was just basing on, you know, not the energy of what the crowd was giving, or the technique, or how technical these guys were. I was just looking at the eye of the tiger. Who had the eye of the tiger? That's a champion. That's the eye of the tiger. So I mean, to me, it could have went any way, and you know, as we can see, it was a mishaps on who won and who lost, and you know, some people disagreed that it should have been Heaven, and some people thought it should have been Orthodox. I mean, I thought both of them were dope, but at the end of the day, you know, I thought Heaven brung a different style and a different variety to the battle. So.
All right, so the controversy in particular and specific is, you know, when you play back the tape, because we saw a couple of tapes, you know, we weren't sure after reviewing it whether or not Heaven was supposed to move on, because there were what seemed to be 2 votes for Orthobox. I apologize, Mr. Orthobox. You're a great beatboxer. We were happy to have you at the competition. I just, you know, it's like almost one of those situations like in a football game, you know, where the referee made the call and everybody's moving on, but no one did anything to kind of rectify the problem. So that's part of the reason why we're getting here today. You know, if there was any incorrect messages that were sent, and you know, what was done. At this point, you know, we can't go back. But if we did, you know, sorely affect someone's experience, we wanted to at least, you know, kind of shout him out, maybe give him some type of formal apology for.
I mean, for the most part, you know what I'm saying, Orthobox, I think he's a great talent, and he definitely should be recognized, you know, and you know, not said that you know, he was dope, everything was clean, it was crisp. My only fear was, you know, it being the same thing for the next round. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you want to bring different talent to each round. You don't want to bring the same formula to every round, because I don't want to be able to predict or dictate. So maybe it did come off like, okay, well, you said Orthobox, but why is it Heaven? You know, so I mean, things happen, things get misconstrued. It's no disrespect to Orthobox, no disrespect to Heaven, because that wasn't what it was about. I mean, that's just the way life is, you know, that's the way competition goes. You know, I've been in plenty of competitions back in the day, and where I felt I should have won, you know, but you know, as a champion, you got to continue on, you know, no matter what the outcome is. And I know Orthobox, you know, if you're out there and you're listening, you know, if you feel you're a champion, continue to do what you do, you know, and it'll all come to light. And hopefully we'll get to see you next year at the 2013 American Beatbox Championships.
I wanted to ask a question about your opinion about beatboxing as a global art form. You know, and the fact that we have been dividing the competition of beatboxing continentally, you know, and we see a lot more battles happening, you know, all around the globe. How, you know, you as a beatboxer coming from, you know, the States, and you've seen it, you know, transition overseas, you've seen it come back home. Why is it important to you, you know, as, you know, such an important person in the beatbox scene, why is it important to you that the American Beatbox Championships has a different set of, you know, different set of circumstances to or expectations, you know, as opposed to other countries at this point?
I feel the American Beatbox Championship should definitely have a different formula and format, due to the fact that there wouldn't be no me if there wasn't a different formula or format. As a child, I listened to Africa Bambaataa come to the park. African Bambaataa, he didn't play just one particular genre of music. He played multiple genres of music, and that's how hip-hop pretty much began to grow. And if you listen to a lot of the hip-hop where they're sampling, or where they're using, you know, musicians, or where they're using, you know, archives of different records from the past, you can see it's from different genres of music. So to me, that's what I grew up on. I grew up on listening to R&B, listening to electronic, listening to house, listening to hip hop, listening to bluegrass, listening to country. So to me, it's all these different genres of music created a whole new genre. So why shouldn't that be the same for the beatbox? Because in order for it to develop, you have to get this energy from different places, not just one source. Now, a lot of people say, well, why are you particularly pointing out one particular style or particular genre, whether it be dubstep or whether it be, drum and bass? I'm really not, because, I've worked with some of the best people that do drum and bass, Ronnie Size, a good friend of mine. I've done dubstep with DJ Muggs from Cypress Hills. I've done dubstep records before, so I have nothing against the genre of dubstep. But when the competition becomes just about dubstep or the style or technique of dubstep, then is it really a battle at that point? Is it really a battle or is it the Guinness Book of World Record? Which one are we trying to do? Are you trying to see who's the fastest beatboxer? Then there's a forum for that. So to me, when you're battling, you bring in your best. I'm talking about you bringing your different flavors, your different styles, and it's not one-dimensional. And to me, it's no disrespect to none of the other beatboxers. There's no disrespect to the world championships over in Europe. There's no disrespect to Bilo. There's no disrespect to the community. It's not a disrespect. It's just a challenge to challenge yourself, a challenge to progress the art, to challenge yourself for people to take you serious, other genres of music to take you serious. Because if you keep doing the same thing, then it becomes child's play. It becomes, oh yeah, my little brother does that. I've made a living off of this for over 15 years. Like, this is my career. This is my business. So I'm not talking in vain. I'm not talking in vain. It comes from my heart. It's like me talking to one of my children. I'm letting you know, I'm the godfather. Not to be arrogant, as most people say I am arrogant. Well, you know me very well. I don't believe I come off that way. Maybe sometimes the truth may hurt a little bit, but hopefully it'll push you in the right direction so you'll understand where I'm coming from. It's not a disrespect at all. It's to challenge yourself. When you go home, say, okay, I can do dubstep. Okay, I can do drum and bass. Okay, what hip-hop records can I do? What R&B records can I do? What country records can I do? What rock records can I do? That's always been my mentality when I was growing up, as far as being a beatboxer. Right. But why? Because African Bambaataa played all those genres of music. So I had to go home and practice each genre of music. So when I did battle somebody that was one-dimensional was losing. Because he was going to do the most latest beat that everybody know that's popular. I was coming with something else. I was going to hit you with a rock beat, which is unexpected. Nobody was ready for that. So who wins? I win. Because I hit you with the variety,
That was what was expected, right? That makes a lot of sense.
I fucking hate this. All right, so let's get into this video. My first problem with it right off the bat is that Rahzel seems to be avoiding the question. He doesn't address why Heaven moved on instead of Orthodox, which makes me think maybe he didn't change his vote to Heaven in that instance because he's avoiding the question so hard, which if that's the case, I have another problem. If he's hearing the MC announce the wrong name, why isn't he saying anything? He's clearly vocal and outspoken about everything else, but he doesn't correct the MC when he hears that happening. That just seems to be a lack of accountability. After that, he makes a comment that is one of the worst pieces of judge logic I've ever heard. He says something along the lines of, I'm afraid Orthodox will do the same thing in the next round. You're not clairvoyant. No one is clairvoyant. So you're basing your judge logic on an event that didn't happen. That's a new low. That's fucking crazy. No one's clairvoyant. You can't make your judging basis something that didn't actually happen. So there's also one more thing. He goes into a long discussion about the history of hip hop and how the incorporation of different genres is what grew hip hop, especially when a particular artist was incorporating all of these different genres. It made hip hop something more accessible, and therefore it became something more popular with the general crowd. If that is the history of hip hop, that needs to be accepted with beatboxing as well. And it needs to be done unequivocally, because if you look at beatboxing, the introduction of dubstep and drum and bass and all of these different electronic genres, it without a doubt grew beatboxing immensely, especially online across all of these different countries. I would say this was one of the primary things that grew beatboxing, is dubstep beatboxing in particular. You cannot argue against this. It is completely unequivocal. And he makes these points like that he doesn't actually hate dubstep, doesn't actually hate drum and bass because he works with these different artists that do that type of music. In my opinion, his actions don't really match his words, especially if you look at what he says during his judge deliberations and how he votes, especially voting for people based on style in the actual battles. So yeah, those were my problems with this interview. Let's take a look at what the YouTube comments had to say, because this was pretty entertaining. Man, Orthobox wins all of the challenges hands down. Heaven, you just got boxed badly, just like all the others who go against him. Orthobox standing like a stick and trying to be cool, but his beat were cool. Heaven, or whatever his name is, had zero flow. Orthobox all the way, man. If only the people will choose the winner, I think Master Orthobox wins. How much did Heaven pay the judges to let him win, even though my awesome beatbox teacher, Orthobox, was way better? There was a lot of controversy around this battle. Who do you think had it? Orthobox, and I just threw one in there as well. The reason why there was controversy was because Orthobox was said to be discriminated against because of his religion. It's incredibly sad that it came to that. Anti-Semitic comments were being used by Kenny Muhammad, according to Orthobox. As a judge, that just shouldn't happen. So I actually talked to Orthobox about this one. This apparently happened in 2011. Orthobox heard there were comments made about him by Kenny Muhammad, allegedly, and then he was removed off of future judge opportunities. So this was addressed in 2011. Sounds like this was the best battle out of the whole 2012 American Championships, and only mainly because of Orthobox. Can I please have what you're smoking? Heaven, advanced techniques and technical beats and creativity. How long have you been beatboxing? I'm curious. I think this was Crackbone. Orthobox all the way. Orthobox was way better. Holy shit, he's Jewish. So you might be thinking, Ghost, this was 14 years ago. Why are you talking about this still? And the reason why is because I could see this same kind of idiocy happening today and in the future. So firstly, this whole thing was a pattern. Let me show you some clips.
Judges, how we feeling? Ready? 3, you guys give the 2 and the 1. 3! 2, 1. Split decision. Whoa, no. They're gonna do one more round. Oh shit.
See the 3, y'all see the 2 and the 1. Crowd in 3. With a split decision, it goes to Vino.
The second thing I want to mention is subjectivity in beatboxing, which is inevitable, right? When you're making a judge decision, you're automatically going to apply your own beliefs on what makes beatboxing good or bad to that specific vote, right? The thing is, that subjectivity needs to be based on the art form itself and beatbox battling itself. It should be about the exploration of ideas. It should be about creativity and techniques. It should not be based on outside irrelevant information or the world around you, right? And unfortunately, that seems to be the basis of Rahzel's decision-making, especially when he's speaking to Stephen Foxx in this interview. He brings up the history of hip-hop and how the integration of different genres grew hip-hop to what it is. That is not relevant to the beatbox battle. He talks about what is better for beatboxing in the outside world once you leave the battle environment. That is not relevant to the competition. He brings up all of his own anecdotes about what makes beatboxing good, his own personal experiences. Guess what? The plural of anecdote is not data. And the last thing I want to mention is celebrity worship, which is absolutely something that I could see happening again today in the beatbox community. So there's a lot of amazing beatboxers in the past that did so many great things to contribute to the art form. And there are many beatboxers today who continue to do amazing things and will continue to do so in the future. That is not an excuse for ego. That is not an excuse for disrespecting other people or projecting your views above other people's sentiments. And unfortunately, that seems to be the case here to some extent. And especially when you look at tournaments like 2022 American Beatbox Championships Founders Tournament, when judges like Collapse, River, Pono are barely getting breaks to eat and drink, and then Rahzel sitting in the middle, not even an official judge, getting a personal bucket with alcohol in it from Jake Rich while everyone else is thirsty. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's a partial environment where not everyone is being respected, and that's going to breed justifiable resentment. I would say resentment in that case makes a lot of sense. So just respecting certain figures to the detriment of other people who are trying to do their best in this art form, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And unfortunately, I could see something like that happening again, so I kind of just wanted to caution against it. So yeah, that is my overview on this whole judge decision. It was a huge fucking mess, and I hope something like this doesn't happen again. If you have a particular battle in your country, outside, because I'm covering an American battle, right? Maybe there was an absolutely ridiculous judge decision that happened in another country that I don't know about. I kind of want to see what that's about. So I would love for other people to kind of make this videos on something like this too. So yeah, that's everything. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.